Hey everybody, I really hope you're doing well today. I was a little bit bummed because I was invited to YouTube Creator Day, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. And it sounded really fun. It's something that I really wanted to participate in because YouTube really is a part of our mission. I mean, it's really the tool that has brought us together. It's the reason for so many of our connections. And so it's something that I really wanted to participate in. I was really excited about it, but things happen for a reason. So we'll see. Maybe next event coming up, it'll be different. But yeah, so other than that, I did have a video up about our higher selves, and I took it down because I felt like I wasn't being clear enough, and I didn't want to confuse you or misguide you. So I felt like it needed to be redone. And so if you watched the other part, this is going to be very repetitive. But what I had mentioned was that one of the questions that comes up a lot in conversation and in topics is, how are we able to tell the difference between our own higher self and our twin's higher self? And how are we able to tell the difference with who is who, and when is it our twin coming in, and when is it our own consciousness? And this is really interesting because I always ask myself this question. I heard people talk about it, but I couldn't tell the difference. But it is something that we really have to transition into, at least most of us. We all go through the merging process in stages for the most part. So what had happened to me with my twin and I was that it's something that I had to transition into as well. So we know that our higher self is that inner voice. It is our voice of reason. So we know what that's like. We know what it feels like. I mean, we've grown up with our higher selves our entire life, so we know what it feels like. We know what it is. It's that inner voice, that inner guidance. So when I met my twin, when my twin and I first met, I was still myself. And it was still very much me, independently. And so I began to get, the synchronicity and the signs, the messages, even before I met him. But we started to come closer energetically. But I felt that it wasn't until we met in the physical, which was 2 years after we met, when we finally came together in the physical, that was when everything just got even more intense and more real, and I started to feel him even more. So at this point, after meeting in the physical, this is when things got a little bit, paranormal, I guess, because I have mentioned my twin is a musician, so I have his music in my phone, and anytime I was feeling sad or doubtful, or when I was missing him, his songs would just start to play on their own randomly in my phone. So at this point, I started to feel a little bit haunted. It began to creep me out a little bit because I was feeling his energy. Plus, my phone was turning on. It was just something else. And then also, too, I experienced a drain. It was like there was something going on. And I know it has to do with our light bodies touching and intertwining because, the connection just became a lot stronger after coming together in the physical. So yeah, I started to feel him more energetically, and I will never forget this. One day, my twin and I were texting, and all of a sudden, I get this very powerful, overwhelming sense of love right in the heart center. And it was so powerful. It was so amazing that it made me want to cry. You know, it almost brought me to tears because I had never felt such a thing before. And I knew at this point that it was coming from him because I felt it. I had that inner knowing that this was my twin, that I was connected to him. I didn't know that we were twin flames, but I knew that I was connected to this person. I just knew it. But it was so powerful, guys. This feeling in my heart center was so powerful. I mean, I almost felt, you know, I don't know. It's unexplainable. It was a different level of love, and I was so inspired. I wanted to paint. I wanted to write. I wanted to sing, listen to music, play guitar. I mean, I wanted to do everything. It was just inspiration, love, freedom. You know, it was something else. To make the long story short, November, I find out I am a twin flame of last year, and my twin and I are kept apart. So by January of this year, this is when I really, really start to feel my twin's energetic presence way stronger. So, as you know, as the months go by, this connection is just getting stronger and deeper. And I start to feel him even more. I start to feel rushes of his energy, his waves of his presence, you know. And it wasn't until April, though, I would say around June, is when I really started to feel my twin's higher self. And I really, really started to notice a difference in my thought process. So what started to happen was whenever I was thinking of something or had an opinion about something, I still had that inner voice. And I did have different examples. So let's say that I would look at myself in the mirror and I thought, oh my goodness, I look like a mess today. You know, I would have that other voice that would say something like, no, you don't. You look fine. Or if I would think, oh my goodness, I'm going to be late, I would have this separate consciousness that would say, no, you're not. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Don't worry. Or it's going to be fine. Or what are you thinking? Or, you know, little things like that. But what he started to notice is that this other consciousness, this inner inner voice, had my twin's essence attached to it. It had my twin's energy to it. So, of course, at that time, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just feeling him. I'm feeling him more now. But it started to become repetitive, where every single time I had a thought or an opinion about something, this separate consciousness, the separate inner voice would always drop in all the time. And the way I found out it was my twin's higher self is that this was my twin's vocabulary. These were things that only he would say, words that only he uses. It wasn't my vocabulary, it was my twin's. That's when I got it and I said, oh, wait a second. This is my twin's higher self. This is my twin's higher self. And it made sense. It made a lot of sense. So this is how you will know, is because you know what your inner voice is like, but you also start to feel this other inner voice that has an energetic signature to it, and that is your twin's signature, your twin's energetic signature, your twin's essence. So this is how we are able to tell the difference between our own higher self and our twin's higher self. And when I mean consciousness, guys, I want to be very clear about this. I'm not referring to this separate consciousness being our twin's 3D consciousness, where it is his own physical awareness. It doesn't work that way, at least not yet. So let's say that right now I am thinking something like, oh my goodness, I feel so down today. I can't believe you make me feel this way. Why do you do this? It's not like on his end, he picks up exactly what I'm saying at the precise timing. It's not a mental 3D telepathy. It doesn't work that way, at least not yet. But this is more of our higher consciousness, our higher selves. But just to put it into perspective, I refer to it as a consciousness. But it really is our higher consciousness, higher aspects of us. So there is always this back and forth between twins where we have our inner guidance. And if we didn't know any better, if we weren't awake and aware, it would just feel like overactive brain activity, like having an overactive mind where it feels like you have a lot of thoughts rushing in, but it's really your twin's higher self combined with yours. The only difference is you feel your twin's energy to it. It's like a separate essence presence, and it's really incredible because I also mentioned that in the same way our twin comes through, in the same way their higher selves comes through, we do the same thing for them on their end. So although they are not fully awake and aware, they may be going through their day contemplating, rationalizing, thinking about things, and they do get that inner voice within them. But it's really us. It's really our higher selves dropping in on them as well. So they have no idea, a lot of them, but it's really us, guys. It's really our higher selves guiding them, being them, supporting them. I mean, when they are going through issues and they get that inner voice that says, hey, everything's going to be okay. You're fine. Guess who that is? That is you. It is you relating things to your twin. It is your higher aspects relating these things to your twin, providing comfort. And in the same way, vice versa, them to us. And it is really an amazing, amazing connection because there is always constant relating, constant communication between the two souls, between the twin flames. There is an undercurrent of communication that is always active. It's always turned on all the time. All the time. So you can't cut it. You cannot get rid of it. It's always there. It's always there. Especially if you are communicating with your twin via your heart center, where you are consciously pulling them down from your mind, from a mental perspective, and feeling them. And speaking to them from your heart. It strengthens the communication, it strengthens the connection to your higher self, but also to their higher self. And so you start to become more aware of your twin. What's really happening is you are literally getting to know your twin. You're literally getting to know their essence. Even across the miles, across the distance, you and your twin are literally getting to know each other. And the more you get to know them, the more you become familiar with their higher self, the more you really get to know who they are. And it's really an amazing connection because our physicality, guys, we have so many points and parts and pieces of us that correspond to the connection that we have with our twin and the way that it affects them. So we are connected to them via our heart. I mean, that's the window to our twin, different parts of us that do different things that affect our twin. I mean, that's a different video, to be honest with you. We have all these meridians and these, pressure points and all of these things, that connect us. That's a separate video. But anyway, going back to the higher self part, what started happening to me was that I started to feel him even more. And when I started to notice that this presence, my twin's energetic presence, his higher self, was with me all the time. It never detached. It just never went away, and that alarmed me because I had never experienced that before. And so, believe it or not, I did go through a purging the fear of losing my identity to my twin, losing myself in my twin, because I was beginning to feel different. I was beginning to feel like a different person, like things were really changing. And I purged the fear of losing myself in him, and because it never went away. And I even got to the point when I was going through this fear purge, and I said, "You're never going away, are you?" And he said, the response I got was, no. And it's something that I had to adapt to, because the presence was just very loud. It was very present. So for a lot of you, this is something that you are going to transition into, because a lot of twins, especially those who have just met, a lot of twins right now are still in the merging transition. They are still merging aspects of themselves, merging their essence. They are still trying to balance their feminine and masculine energies. They are still unifying their higher aspects. But a lot of you have completely merged. A lot of you, your higher aspects have merged. And if you have fully merged with your twin, you will definitely tell the difference. You will, because your twin will drop in, you will feel them, you will sense them, and you will definitely be able to tell the difference, because things become very physical. You sense them, things move, or things turn on, or you dream about them, you feel them in your sleep, and you feel them with you all the time. You feel a separate presence with you, and it is really quite something, guys. It is really an amazing connection. It really, really is. Anyway, so yeah, my twin and I, when we met, we didn't just completely merge. When we met right off the bat, it was something that we transitioned into. So the best thing to do is really get to know your own higher self. And just wait for it, because it'll happen. It'll definitely happen. If you are a true twin flame, you bet your bottom dollar it's going to happen. It's inevitable. This energetic force, this magnetism, has nothing else to do but to bring you together energetically, eventually in the physical. But it's going to happen, So that's all I've got for you today, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I hope you're really doing well, and I will speak to you soon, okay? Bye, everybody.